Orient Volume 3 review. So far, Shinobu Otaka's Orient has said that all the elements it needs to guarantee its success. Great artwork, an interesting overarching plotline, as that the characters with plenty to build on, and some scary demons with some fantastic designs. However, it was struggle to bring them all together into one cohesive whole, and unfortunately, that doesn't really change in this third volume, which is firmly divided into two halves. One that delivers a solid conclusion to the current arc of the story, and one that struggles to get going into the next. After the setup at the end of Volume 2, this volume resumes in a surprising direction as it rather sidelines Musashi Kujiro and turns its focus on Sukumi, as she finally plucks up the courage to defy her master, and later Hideo, as, as he gives a general mobilization ordered for the townsfolk of the Kosameda Castle to stand against the oncoming demon horde, with all of them facing either dying at their lord's hand or being killed by the demons. The townsfolk are struck in a particularly terrifying situation, and it's now out to Musashi, Kojiro and Sugumi to save them and beat some sense into the samurai bland sport excuse for the leader. While on the one hand, it's a little disappointing that they don't really get to fight any demons here, leaving here very little for Musashi and Kojiro to do. I still ended up quite liking the direction, and it ended up taking as it provides some strong action and character development for Sugumi, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in the series. While a lot of other shonen action titles tend to reduce their main female characters into the token fan service girl, Orient hold up rather will be by making Sugumi a multi-faced character who can really carry herself with both a delicate heart and a fiery soul, but she has a lot of self-esteem issues that aren't going to be solved overnight. She's come on leaps and bounds since she was first introduced, and it's great to see her move forward to be taking a stand here. She's also served well by some good-looking action scenes that show her fighting style to the fullest, which proves to be a very tenacious and agile fighter, while she can match Hideo in terms of overall power. It's good to see that no matter how many times she gets beaten down, she always gets back up again and have another go. I do think it will be showing off the powers of the demon metal blades. A bit better, however, as when Hideo cracks out his bow, all we see is random beams of light appearing from out of nowhere, and it makes things a little confusing. That said, the rest of the artwork is pretty great, although it can feel a little busy at times when it tries to cram a lot into the panel. Even then, it can still work really well, as it was particularly fun of some of the imagery and concepts used by the raging horde of demons being presented as a massive tsunami that makes good use of the real-world concept of religions and folklore in presenting forces of nature as horrific monsters. The second half also gets the revel in its intricately detailed design work, not only touching characters and buildings, but the demon metal blades that become a focus for the next part of the story. As in translations away for the Kosameda arc, it does spin its wheel a bit, inserting a rather consensual chapter that threatens to throw away some of the good work with Tsukumi's character, as it bears her breast in order to make friends with our leading duo. It's a light comic relief, but to find himself sighing at the attempt to go for the long-hanging fruit we have just gone straight into the following chapter. Where the rook demon steals Kojiro's katana, there are some interesting details mixed in here on how the demon metal blades work, where we get introduced to the cover character of Volume 4, but ultimately a lot of the second half of the volume could have done with a lot of tightening up. It all ends up being repeated later as the gang arrive at the Great East Mine, where the next demon lord is predictable to appear. Here we finally get back to our lead protagonist, which is very welcome as a focus on Sugumi has left the feeling rather undeserved and weak in comparison. Thankfully, as we head into the next volume, that looks set to change, as Musashi gets to replace his pickaxe with the first volume with a demon metal weapon that can actually kill demons with, which of course is an entire part of the series and something that it has only forgotten about in the last volume and a half. Orient continues to be published by Kodansha in its digital first volume format, with these print releases slowly catching up with the digital release. Kevin Grifford takes over translation duties for this volume, which remains good and consistent with Nate Durr's work on the first two volumes. There do seem to be some layout issues with some of the text that being positioned right at the top of the page, although apart from one word being cut in half, it doesn't have a major impact on the reading experience. Overall, Orient still feels like it is waiting for the follow-up to its breakup, the first volume. While Volume 3 does a good job of building up Sugumi and allows her to take a lead in the action, the side in the main protagonist and its poor pacing really drag it down. It's probably still worth taking a wait and see approach as it moves into its fourth volume, but it needs something to energize that story and it's leading to going forward. It does keep promising more interesting things, but it's going to get harder and harder to get by on just a string of his artwork alone. And I fear that if things don't change soon, I'll have to let the readers dropping off. 6 over 10.